Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Steve Kiyama. I'm the franchise owner for Action Coach in Fairfax, Virginia, and I'm your host today for the Business Spotlight podcast. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce Will King, the founder of MF Growth, as my guest. And today, we're going to talk about Will's business, his journey into business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when a new show like this drops. Will, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And if you would, please give us a little bit of background about who you are. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, please. Well, Stephen, thank you for having me on here today. I was honestly honored when you reached out. I so my business is MF Growth, and what MF Growth does is it builds automated solutions that are easy to use. And so I started the business about 3 years ago, and initially what I was doing was I was taking my user experience research background and I was looking to offer those services to small businesses because I had this theory in my head, just like a researcher would. I had this theory in my head that what makes small businesses unable to scale and grow is their lack of understanding of the true problem they need to solve. And research is, well suited to come in and help that small business owner, go from where they are to where they want to be. And well, just because you have a hypothesis doesn't mean that you're that you are accurate. And it
Uh-huh.
turns out the thing that is most that it turns out that research is not all that valuable to a small business owner. And I discovered that by doing a research study of my own for my own business, right? I had this idea that I was going to go do this research study and then I was going to know how I could apply my skills to this particular market. And I was just like, man, there is so much to do. Do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and that's really what it kind of comes down to is the research wasn't all that valuable because there's just so much to do. I call it like this. There's like this. You've heard of the backlog, right? Everyone's got a backlog, right? And what I found was the size of that backlog would just get larger and larger and larger and larger, right? There's always more things that you got to do in order to
Mhm.
get this ship moving, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, and so um it was around November of 2022.
Mhm.
ChatGPT had just kind of popped in on the market, right?
Mhm.
And it had its day in the sun, right? Well, I used it
Mhm.
for about 20 minutes, and what happened was it felt like my mind was like exploding, right?
Mhm.
Because I told you I had a research background, right? Well,
Mhm.
I also had a cognitive psychology background, right? I
Mhm.
had a master's in human factors and applied cognition, and it was in that coursework that I heard a phrase called augmented intelligence.
Mhm.
And when I used ChatGPT for the first time, that word was just kind of like echoing in my head, right? Because I
Mhm.
realized, especially after hearing other people in different disciplines describe the same experience of like,
Mhm.
wow, that's the thing I know, right?
Mhm.
I realized that it is broadly applicable across a wide range of cognitive abilities
Mhm.
and cognitive perspectives, right? And I could just tell in that moment that it was going to change the future of what work meant and what
Mhm.
the nature of like our relationship to technology. It was just no way in heck
Mhm.
that this thing was going to come along and it just be like a fad, like
Mhm.
I could see it, right?
Mhm.
And it was like this vision unfolded, right? Well,
Mhm.
much of what I expected to back then has unfolded, right?
Mhm.
And so I decided in that moment that I had been doing that research thing for a minute, but I was just like I didn't want to do that anymore, man. That just wasn't it wasn't I was not having a good time, and I was also discovering that it's not valuable to the market, right?
Mhm.
And so when I saw what AI was then and where
Mhm.
it was headed, I was like, I'm just gonna center my career around this.
Mhm.
And so I dived in full time to learning how to leverage ChatGPT and other AI systems like
Yep.
Claude, and then I I saw how broadly applicable. So I tried a bunch in a bunch of different modalities, imagery, video, music, and like voice to speech, or text to speech, all different kinds of different modalities, right?
Hmm.
And you just become it becomes very clear very quickly as you start getting in the mix of this AI that like it's just it's hard to keep up, you
Hmm.
know? And I think that was one of my initial mistakes early on in the theory of what I saw to come, right? Which was I had this idea that like AI was going to become this generalized skill, kind of like Google, right? Like the ability to
Hmm.
Google things, right? And in some sense, one could argue that it kind of has, because I can think of right now people who don't know how to Google, right, for instance. But it becomes this new like litmus test for like how much you can get done and how
Hmm.
much you can find out and discover.
Hmm.
Right. And yeah, I'm not quite sure which question I'm answering at this point, but I just
Well, a little bit of the question is what got you into this?
yeah,
Why
yeah.
why did you choose to go down this road? But what got you into deciding to be a business owner? Why did you want to be a business owner?
Oh man. So okay. So I had worked a corporate job my whole career.
Hmm.
And the nature of being a user experience researcher
Hmm.
is that your job opportunities are located in a specific area, right?
Hmm.
Metropolitan areas, right?
Hmm.
And honestly, what initially happened that like kind of set all of this in motion was my mother
Hmm.
died, and she left my sister and I, some inheritance, and
Hmm.
that inheritance gave me enough runway to where I could feasibly find my own path,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And it was enough runway to be like, you got some time, right?
Give it a shot. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so I like to tell people that like I'm doing small business on easy mode and on hard mode simultaneously,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And it's on easy mode because the gun to my back that says get more money, is really quite there yet, and so you know people I guess maybe don't sell as hard as they need to when they're comfy,
It's an
so
issue. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Who are you serving? What are the customer groups that
hmm
you're working with best
Yeah.
at this stage of the game?
Well, honestly, a lot of the people that I've been working with lately have been people who are in need of a certain kind of like expertise around AI that like may not be able to afford it,
Hmm.
right? And so one example, so one of the tools I use a lot is called Perplexity, right?
Hmm.
And so I have been using Perplexity lately to assist people who are impacted by justice issues that are by crafting FOIA requests,
Hmm.
right? And and you can use AI to like help with that particular task, right? And you can also automate on top
Hmm.
of that, right? Because the nature of what they ask, or there's a consistent like formulaic kind of approach to it,
Hmm.
right? And so populations like that are ones that I've been working a lot with lately. And but then other kinds of customers that I've been focusing on has been small business owners, usually
Hmm.
ones in this particular region, right?
Hmm.
Because one of the things I discovered when I was working in the tech community for in the corporate world, right, is that there's a lot of distance that gets made between you and the person that you're serving, right?
Hmm.
When you're selling something digitally, right?
Hmm.
And there's nothing about AI that's particularly location-based focused. Like I could
Hmm.
I could teach and show and build for anybody anywhere, right?
Hmm.
But I I knew what that life felt like. I knew what
Hmm.
that life felt like to live, and it
Hmm.
was hollow,
Mm-hmm.
because you're only in a real like heavy interaction with people is over just a Zoom call every
Mm-hmm.
now and then. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
break bread with people that are on the other side of the country.
Mm.
And so when I was a researcher, it just so happened that the people that I was always researching just so happened to be often small business owners
Okay.
because the people
Yep.
who use I primarily was in marketing SaaS companies.
Mm-hmm.
So SaaS companies work with small business owners,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I interviewed a lot of those folks. And that was some of my favorite parts of that job was just like interacting with those folks and learning about how their businesses worked and how that impacted the use of our product, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the um and so I knew I really enjoyed that particular dynamic, that entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for all of those reasons, I chose to focus on my hometown, right?
Okay. All right.
And so when I say that I'm doing business on easy mode and hard mode, the hard mode part is I'm selling the future to
Mm-hmm.
people in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which
Mm-hmm.
is a historical town, which
Mm-hmm.
just sort of tells you what you need to know
Mm-hmm.
about the particular hill that I put myself on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, yeah, and so small business owners that are in this region and because of that focus, I focus specifically on businesses whose the nature of their business also makes them have to do their business around the region. So you
Mm-hmm.
got realtors, mortgage lenders, construction folks, like
Mm-hmm.
any number of you know, um, like regionally focused service providers.
Awesome. 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 Is there competition in this market?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I first started, there was none. Uh, and then now there's like two or three that have been like popping up and showing me the specifics of which things I'm not doing well and which ones they are. Which has been a very fun exercise in humility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And the question I'm going to ask, of course, is what makes you unique? How do you stand out from those guys?
oh well, I mean, I mean to for my own perspective, I mean, I just have the expertise. Like
Mm-hmm.
my other competitors, yeah, I mean, they are doing AI things now, and like they do have they've really leveraged it a lot and are heavily focused on it and teaching it. But both of them started a year ago, and I started 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that full time for 3 years. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
like if there's one thing that I know to the depths of my core is
Mm-hmm.
that I know how to prompt better
Mm-hmm.
than most people I interact with, right?
Okay. All right.
And it's just becomes obvious as soon as I observe them prompting. I'm like, oh, why are you prompting like that? I'm like, oh, what are you doing there? Like, oh, what are you doing there? And every now and then I'll come across new techniques where I'm like, oh, actually, that's really cool. I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
you showed me that.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes I'm just like, man, that's sloppy. And it's not sloppy for a reason. You could be sloppy sometimes, but it's got to have a reason, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. What's been the most memorable hurdle you've crossed in this journey?
Oh man, it's a memorable hurdle. I used to really struggle to speak publicly. Really
Mm.
struggled with it. I struggled to articulate myself. I struggled to be the center of attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
That has traditionally made me very uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I I remember the day when I was like, "Oh, I could do this now." Was when I had in my region, there's a lot of there are these like networking groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as there are in every region, really. But in one in particular, there was this guy, Marty Johnson, and if
Mm-hmm.
you're ever in this region, he's the guy to know. He knows everybody. He was running this networking group that was like, in my opinion, so well done for a free networking group. Because what he did was he got a specific location to give up a big ass room, and they had lunch every Wednesday at a certain time. And all you did was you went in there, you pitched, and then you had lunch, and that was it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's the way it should be done.
Hmm.
Um, and so I was at so, but because this was a very loosey goosey kind of place in terms of like the structure and the rules, right? I was gave myself had to kind of have more like flexibility in how I pitched, right?
Hmm.
Because I would just go up there and I would try to explain what I'm doing. I'm trying to explain what AI automation is to like people who barely understand how to, fix their Google Docs,
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like I mean that was a real hard challenge, right?
Yeah.
But the moment where I felt like I had it right was like so there was this kid who's like maybe like 10 years younger than me, maybe. And he was like a financial planner, super, super awkward, super awkward. Always got up there and didn't have a compelling bone in his body kind of thing.
Hmm.
And he one time, after one of my speeches, after one of my came up and he said something like, "You are an incredible public speaker." He said something like definitive, right?
Hmm.
Like that.
Hmm.
And I had known in that moment that I had crushed it, right?
Hmm.
And so like, and then honestly, from like those moments onward, I haven't had that problem anymore where
Hmm.
I'm like scared to get in front of public and tell people like,
Okay.
this, you
Okay.
know? Yeah.
Cool. Cool. That's very good. That's a tough challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's also, how do you get in front of a person and tell your story?
How do I do it?
Well, no, well, yeah,
Oh,
it's the same thing, isn't it?
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it kind of is. It kind of
Hmm.
is. I feel like there's a little bit more of like more careful attention you need to place on the specifics of who you're speaking to
Yeah, who
when
the
it's
audience is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And I've always found that to be a very interesting concept. I actually so my undergrad focused on this thing called theory of mind.
Hmm.
And are you familiar with that
No,
concept?
no.
Well, okay, so what theory of mind is essentially is this it's this ability that most humans develop when they're about like 3 or 5, somewhere in
Hmm.
that range, they develop this ability to inhabit and understand the mental states of other people,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Prior
Hmm.
to that, their thoughts are your thoughts,
Hmm.
right? And then at some point, somewhere along that psychosocial development, you gain this thing called theory of mind. I can have a
Hmm.
theory that you feel a certain way. Well, there are
Hmm.
many levels to theory of mind. I
Hmm.
can know that you know something about me. I can also know that you know something about me that I know about you.
Hmm.
You know, and it has as many layers as you can imagine. And It's a fascinating ability that only human or that mainly humans display, and only a small number of other animals display this or does it appear that these animals are displaying this particular cognitive ability. And I've just always found that kind of a fascinating problem whenever you're trying to articulate anything to any audience, right? Is keeping that theory of that other sets of people's mind, right? Like here I am, you know, forgetting about theory of mind when that's only very tangential to your question. But
Wait till it gets programmed into AI.
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's on its way for sure. I mean, I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like what we're doing every time we talk to it, we're just doing more of that, you know?
in a way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What do you see for your business in the future? Look out 5 or 10 years. Where do you see it going?
Man, I wish I had a good answer to this, man. Um, I On the back of my laptop, there is a bunch of stickers.
Mm,
And one of those stickers is my favorite sticker. And it is a sticker of a squirrel with a lot of nuts in its mouth.
hmm.
And
Hmm.
it says accomplished hoarder. Okay. And I feel like my attention and my projects are like that, right? I feel like
Mm,
an accomplished hoarder, right? And
mm-hmm,
so where do I think MF growth is going to go
mm-hmm,
in 5, 10 years? I don't
mm-hmm,
know, man. I don't know how many how many nuts that squirrel can carry, and what the shape of those of what that meal I guess is going to look like or is going to
mm,
taste like. So
mm,
yeah, I wish I had a good answer to that, but right now
mm.
I'm just taking it, month by month, you know.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of leads to the question, what do you want MF growth to do for you personally?
What for me personally? I mean, for me
Mm-hmm,
personally, I wanted to produce the life that I want,
mm,
right? And the life that I want is ownership over my time and ownership
mm-hmm.
over what I choose to work on, right?
Okay.
And um one of the things that is true about this particular domain is that it's broadly applicable to a wide range of people, right? In a
Mm-hmm,
wide range of situations.
mm-hmm,
And there just are not that many people that are as versed in this subject as I am. Not to mention the other like domain knowledge that I bring to the situation.
mm,
That like I will tell you, man, the overlap between UX research and AI prompting is there's a lot of overlap there.
mm-hmm,
And you had asked earlier about my um, secret sauce. That's part of that secret sauce. But so like there are certain kinds of problems I like working on, right?
mm-hmm,
And so that's what I want MF Growth to enable me to do is to
mm-hmm,
work on the kinds of problems that I enjoy and am particularly effective at solving that so that I don't have to do work that makes me feel dumb and makes me
mm-hmm.
feel like this is a waste of everyone's time, you know?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thinking ahead, based on what you've learned so far in growing a business,
Mhm.
if you started your business over again today, is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah. Yeah, I would invest a lot sooner and earlier
Mm-hmm.
in figuring out sales. Like
Ah,
I
yeah,
waited
that's an important
way
one.
too long to like get my feet deep into that. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And the most straightforward thing I could have done, honestly, was just immediately try to find a sales partner and
Mm-hmm.
you know, work directly with that person, you know. But I did not come to that conclusion until, you know, maybe the last year, you know.
Okay.
And if I could do
Yeah.
it again, I would have come out the gate, you know. It was kind of interesting because like I was like growing in my ability to communicate, growing in my ability to distill these things. And so I was like trying to keep up with that piece of it and also
Mm-hmm.
figuring out how to sell it because that was one of the things I kept running into though honestly when I was trying to find someone that could that could take on that role a little more
Mm-hmm.
effectively than me
Mm-hmm.
which is that most it was hard enough to get people to wrap their heads around what it was I was offering in the first place, right? And what I found after attempting to find people partners that would do sales is that it took me like anywhere between 2 weeks to a month just to get people to wrap their full heads around what the hell an AI automation even is and like what it
Mm-hmm.
does and why somebody would want to sell it, how to sell it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I tried the only thing I didn't try was to pay top dollar for somebody who's good. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That
Mm-hmm.
was the only thing I didn't try. And
Mm-hmm.
I probably if I could go back in time, that's probably what I would have done, you know?
Would start there. Yeah. Awesome. 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 All right. So we're going to start wrapping up. So
Okay.
let's have some fun with some rapid fire questions here.
Okay,
Um,
sick.
what is the key to success for you?
Oh man. Key to success. Key to success is consistency for me.
Hmm. Good.
Mhm.
Good. Good. If you and I were having coffee in a coffee shop, and I know there are several in good ones in Fredericksburg, um, and somebody walked in talking about the business that they were starting up, based on what you know now, what's one piece of advice you would give that person?
Mm. Oh, don't don't wait till it's perfect.
Good.
Put the crappy baby out there
Yeah, good.
and get people to buy it.
Yep. Yeah, good. You can always do revision two and
Yeah, in
three.
fact, you should do revision two. You should be doing 1,000 revisions.
I think
Yeah.
I've got version 12 of an iPhone and it's already obsolete about five times.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What's one book you're reading now or have read recently that has impact on how you're doing your business?
There's an impact on how I'm doing my business. I have an answer to this, but it's on how I'm living my life.
Hmm.
Will that, yeah.
Okay.
The Kai Billy. Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. Good. Good. You've had a good journey. You're having a lot of fun, sounds like. What are you
Yeah.
most proud of in that process?
Oh man. Um, um, being at the right place at the right time to help the people that I've helped.
Good. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Flipping that around a little bit, if you had a magic wand that you could fix one thing in your business this afternoon, what would it be?
Sales.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fit, fits the answer before.
It is.
All right. Most important question. How can people that want to know more connect with you best?
The best way to connect with me
Hmm.
is going to my website at
Hmm.
www.mfgrowth.ai
Hmm.
and yeah, reach out on the website, and you can also find me on Instagram at mfgrowth,
Hmm.
all lowercase, and then on Facebook at mfgrowth with like a space between the mf and growth. Um, and yeah, those are the best places.
Awesome. Awesome. Last question. What's most
Mhm.
inspiring to you today?
Oh man. Um, the strength of the people that I'm fighting alongside.
Good. Good. Awesome, awesome. It's been a good chat. I've enjoyed this. You've got some very interesting insights on where things can go and where things will go. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you for sharing. Um,
Yeah, my pleasure.
for the audience, I encourage all of you watching to share this show, come back, watch it again. Will's shared a couple of really interesting insights for his business. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can get notifications for other conversations that drop just like this one. So thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thank you to you, Will, for sharing with us, being vulnerable, and telling your story as it's developing. So I appreciate that.
And I appreciate the opportunity, Stephen. And yeah, I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say.